So, you walk onto a modern construction site, right? And the very first thing that just kind of hits you is the absolute obsession with precision.
Oh, yeah, completely.
Like everything is measured to the millimeter. You've got laser levels spinning around, drones mapping the topography, and these super complex load-bearing calculations.
Right, because it has to be. I mean,
Oh,
a quarter-inch miscalculation on a foundation pour, that translates to a literal structural disaster 20 stories up. The
exactly.
physical side of the industry simply does not tolerate ambiguity.
But then, and this is the crazy part, you walk off the dirt and step into the job trailer. Or you just look inside the contractor's truck and the back office is a totally different reality.
Total chaos.
It is absolute chaos. You're looking at sticky notes plastered over the steering wheel, like 5 different Excel spreadsheets that supposedly track the exact same jobs but have completely different numbers.
Oh, and the whiteboard from 3 months ago.
Yes, the outdated whiteboard. And a phone that just won't stop ringing. The precision of the job site just completely evaporates the second you deal with the flow of information.
And that operational whiplash is really the hidden tax of the construction industry.
Yeah.
Because we culturally associate construction with the act of building things, right? The
Yeah.
concrete and the framing.
Sure, the physical work.
But a massive percentage of the battle is entirely invisible. It's managing the flow of data, the bids, the follow-ups, and the client anxieties long before a single shovel ever hits the dirt.
Which brings us to the core of what we're unpacking in today's deep dive. We have this really highly detailed May 2026 review in front of us from the Service Agent blog.
Really interesting piece.
Yeah, it's titled 7 Top Construction CRM Software That Actually Wins More Bids. And for you listening, the stakes here are incredibly high.
Unbelievably high.
Because choosing the wrong software to run your back office, it doesn't just mean a slightly annoying user interface. It means your estimators are doing double data entry, bids are falling through the cracks, and you're committing to months of agonizing data migration.
Just to realize the tool doesn't even actually fit your business model.
Exactly. But to frame this properly, we need to address a fundamental misunderstanding that the source material points out right away.
Yeah, we have to start here. The industry has a terrible habit of using the terms CRM and project management software completely interchangeably.
Like they're the same thing.
Right. And if you go into this software search, blurring those two concepts, you are setting yourself up for failure from day one.
I see that all the time. A contractor will say, oh, we use this tool to run our jobs, but they can't tell you if it's actually helping them win the work in the first place.
Because they serve two completely different timelines in the lifespan of a project.
Okay, break that down for us.
So a CRM customer relationship management software is your offensive strategy. This is the tool you use to track leads, qualify prospects, build the bids, and manage the relationship before a contract is signed.
Right, before the win.
Exactly. Project management software, on the other hand, is defensive. It takes over after you win the job. It handles the scheduling, tracking the delivery of the lumber, the daily site logs, the time cards.
Okay, so the tension we're going to explore today is how different software companies approach that dividing line.
Yes.
Let's look at the absolute extremes first. The platforms that look at that dividing line between CRM and project management and decide to just, well, conquer the entire map.
The all-in-one operations platform.
Right, starting with Procore.
Honestly, calling Procore a CRM is almost underselling what it is. Procore is built around a philosophy of total centralization.
It's massive.
It is. It's designed for these huge commercial general contractors who are juggling multi-million-dollar pipelines. The CRM functionality tracking the initial bid is really just the lobby of a massive digital headquarters.
But let me push back on that philosophy for a second. If I'm a specialty contractor or like a mid-sized GC running maybe 6 or 7 commercial projects at once,
Yeah.
trying to adopt a system that wants to control my financials, my pre-construction estimating, safety compliance, project closeouts, that sounds like a nightmare of adoption.
Oh, it is.
Doesn't that level of centralization just create a huge bottleneck?
It absolutely creates a bottleneck. But for a 50-story high-rise project, a bottleneck is entirely the point.
Wait, really? The point is to slow things down.
Well, control things.
Yeah.
When you have a massive project with building owners, lead architects, the main general contractor, and 50 different specialty subcontractors, the biggest risk is fragmented information.
Like someone working off an old blueprint.
Exactly. Procore acts like a highly bureaucratic city hall. Every single permit, dollar, and blueprint has to be filed in their central system before anyone can move forward.
Which makes total sense for the giant Balfour Beatties of the world. The source notes that Procore handles heavy-duty project management elements natively. Things like Gantt charts, which are those, highly detailed visual timelines.
Yeah, and they also handle RFIs and submittals natively.
We should probably unpack those terms because they really dictate why this software is so heavy.
Good call. So an RFI, a request for information, is a formal, legally binding question.
Okay.
It's what happens when a plumbing sub looks at the blueprint and realizes, hey, the architect drew a pipe going straight through a solid concrete beam.
Oops.
Right. They can't just drill the hole. They have to submit an RFI to get the architect to legally sign off on a detour.
And a submittal is similar, right?
Yeah. It's the formal process of proving the specific brand of tile you're buying matches the exact specifications of the contract.
So managing thousands of those across dozens of companies obviously requires a massive database. But that brings us to the ultimate catch for you as a buyer.
Pricing.
The pricing. The reviews in the source material highlight a pretty stark reality about Procore. There is no transparent pricing tier on their website.
No, you can't just swipe a credit card and try it out. You have to go through a deep sales consultation to get a custom quote.
And custom pricing in enterprise software is universally code for
Expensive and escalating.
Right.
The user feedback is very consistent here. The cost goes up every year.
Yeah.
If your business doesn't possess the volume and the sheer complexity to justify managing those heavy-duty RFIs and submittals inside the exact same system where you track your sales leads, it's not going to work.
It's going to feel like buying a commercial airliner just to commute to the grocery store.
That is the perfect analogy.
So if Procore is the commercial airliner for huge commercial builds, let's look at the other behemoth trying to own the entire life cycle, but for a completely different demographic.
Builder trend.
Yeah, Builder Trend. They target the residential market. These are your custom home builders and your large-scale remodelers.
And the residential market is just a completely different psychological environment.
How so?
Well, a commercial developer building a warehouse, they understand delays. It's just a math problem to them.
Right, it's just business.
But a homeowner living through a kitchen remodel, they are operating purely on emotion and anxiety.
Oh, for sure. The stress is real.
Buildertrend understands that the core friction in residential construction isn't just about managing the subcontractors. It's about managing the homeowner's stress.
Which is why their client portal feature is so aggressively highlighted in the review.
Yes.
Think about the standard dynamic of remodeling a house. The homeowner is essentially flying blind, so what do?
They call the contractor.
Constantly. Did the cabinets ship? Why wasn't anyone at the house today? Can we change the backsplash color?
Every single day.
And Buildertrend intercepts that entire dynamic by giving the homeowner their own login. They open an app, see the daily progress photos, approve material selections, and digitally sign off on a change order without ever picking up the phone.
It forces transparency, which theoretically eliminates that dreaded, "where are we?" phone call.
Right. But the source reviews point out a really significant vulnerability in Buildertrend's financial model.
Yeah, this catches a lot of longtime users off guard. They heavily market a starting price point, often around a few $100s a month.
Sounds reasonable.
It does, but they utilize an active user pricing structure.
Meaning the more you use it, the more you pay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in residential construction, your active user count fluctuates wildly.
Right, you bring on extra temporary supervisors for the summer rush.
Or you try to integrate more of your subcontractors into the system so they can upload their own photos. And suddenly, reviewers are reporting their monthly bill ballooning from that initial $299 up to north of $900 or $1,000 a month.
Wow. And because you've committed all your historical project data and client communication to their servers, walking away becomes incredibly painful.
You are locked in tight.
Okay, so if the all-in-one operations platforms demand total control and a massive budget, what happens when a contractor rejects that premise entirely?
They look for something much smaller.
Right. Like, what if managing the actual cement pouring isn't your problem? You have your spreadsheets, your guys know what they're doing, the jobs get done.
Yeah.
What if your biggest bottleneck is that you are bleeding revenue because you just can't keep track of the dozens of initial proposals you send out?
That requires a total pivot in philosophy. You have to stop looking for a system that manages the build and look for a system that operates strictly as a pre-construction sniper.
I like that. Pre-construction snipers, tools that live entirely in the pre-award phase.
Let's talk about follow-up CRM.
Okay, yeah. This one is built specifically for commercial general contractors and subcontractors, and its philosophy is fascinating.
It really is.
I kind of look at follow-up CRM as essentially a nagging gym buddy for your estimating team.
That's a great way to put it. Let's break down the mechanics of why that nagging is actually necessary. Why do contractors need a system just to remind them to call people?
Because contractors are, by nature and training, builders and problem solvers. They are rarely trained sales professionals.
Very true.
The most common pitfall in this industry is an estimator spending 3 days doing takeoffs, putting together this brilliant, highly competitive $150,000 proposal, sending it out into the void.
And then getting busy with a fire drill on an active job site.
Exactly. And they completely forget to call the prospect a week later to see if they won the bid.
And the follow-up is where the margin lives. Follow-up CRM ignores all the fancy 3D modeling and project management features and focuses exclusively on enforcing sales discipline.
How does it do that?
The software ties automated, aggressive follow-up reminders directly to your bid stages and deadlines. It forces the estimator to log their touch points. It is a clean, highly efficient machine designed solely to increase your win rate.
But here is the massive limitation to stretch it. The source material flags. What actually happens the moment the client says yes and signs the contract?
Inside follow-up CRM.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. The tool's jurisdiction ends at the signature. There's no job costing, no scheduling module, no daily logs.
So you win the $150,000 job, and immediately you have to take all that client data, all those contract details, and manually type them into a completely separate piece of software to manage the actual work.
Yep. You have to be deeply comfortable managing a multi-tool tech stack and living with that data handoff.
Which is the classic trade-off of hyperfocus, I guess.
It is. Now, there's another tool in this pre-construction category that takes hyper-focus to an absolute extreme.
Unanet CRM by Essential.
Right. But this tool is built for a highly specific crowd that doesn't operate like anyone else we've discussed so far. It's built for AEC firms.
Architecture, engineering, and construction. But why do they need their own isolated category of software? I mean, a bid is a bid, right?
Oh, a bid is absolutely not just a bid in the AEC world.
Really?
If you are an engineering firm bidding on a contract to design a state highway bridge, you aren't just giving them a price quote on materials. You are entering a massive bureaucratic relationship cycle that can take years.
Years.
Years. AEC firms speak a language that a residential roofer or a commercial drywaller would never, ever use.
The review mentions they focus heavily on go-no-go tracking and generating SF330 proposals. We need to decode that for the listener because an SF330 sounds like a tax document.
Honestly, it's arguably worse than a tax document.
Oh, wow.
The SF330 is the standard mandatory form used by federal agencies to procure architecture and engineering services. It is a sprawling nightmare of a document.
What's in it?
You have to format and compile the specific resumes of the exact engineers who will work on the bridge, cross-reference their past performance on similar federal projects, and map out the entire organizational structure of your firm.
Generating one manually must take, what, hundreds of hours?
Hundreds of hours of just pure formatting.
So Unanet CRM acts as a massive repository for the firm's personnel resumes and past project data and basically automates the generation of these federal government proposals.
Exactly. And for a business development team inside an engineering firm, that isn't just a nice feature. That is a survival mechanism.
Pure gold.
It is. But the friction comes when you look at the user complaints.
Oh, there are complaints.
Yeah. When software bends this deeply to accommodate one highly specific bureaucratic workflow, the user interface almost always suffers.
Ah, right. The reviews say exactly that. Users complain about a very clunky reporting interface and navigation that feels incredibly unintuitive.
Yeah.
If you try to adopt Unanet outside of that strict AEC bubble, the learning curve is going to feel like hitting a brick wall. It's software written by engineers for engineers.
Which brings us to a really interesting philosophical crossroads.
How so?
Well, we've looked at the massive all-in-one systems that force you to adopt their workflows. And we've looked at the highly rigid pre-construction tools that force you into their specific sales methodologies.
Right.
What if a construction company rejects both? What if they say, we don't want your templates. We want a totally blank slate that we can mold exactly to our own weird, unique internal processes?
Okay, that mindset pulls you completely out of the construction native software world and dumps you into the realm of the general purpose giants.
The blank slates.
Yeah. The biggest player here, noted in the source, is HubSpot Sales Hub. It has a staggering user base of over 228,000 customers globally.
It's massive.
But I have to ask, HubSpot has absolutely zero native construction workflows. It doesn't know what an RFI is. It doesn't know what job costing is.
Right.
Why on earth is it considered a top option for a construction firm?
It really comes down to accessibility and the illusion of the perfect custom build.
Accessibility meaning price.
Yes, HubSpot offers a genuinely functional, robust free tier. You can sign up today for $0 and start tracking your contacts, logging emails, and moving deals across a basic pipeline.
And for a contractor currently running their business on a legal pad, that is a completely risk-free entry into the digital age.
It gets you in the door. And because it's a blank slate, you can theoretically build it to do whatever you want.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. But this is where the danger lies. And it requires understanding the fundamental difference between B2B software sales, which HubSpot was originally designed for, and construction sales.
Okay, break that down.
In traditional software sales, the relationship is linear. One company sells to one buyer. In construction, the relationships are multi-directional.
Give me an example of how that breaks a standard CRM.
Imagine you are a commercial pointing contractor, right?
Sure.
You're bidding on a new hospital wing. You aren't just submitting one quote to the hospital.
Right, because there are multiple GCs bidding.
Exactly. 5 different general contractors are competing for that hospital job, and you have to submit your painting bid to all 5 of them. So you have one project, but 5 different deals with 5 different companies, all at different probabilities of closing.
And a standard out-of-the-box CRM like HubSpot has no idea how to map that relationship. It just sees 5 disconnected deals.
Precisely. To force HubSpot to understand the relational reality of construction, you have to custom build the architecture.
Which takes a lot of work.
And money. As the source material warns, the moment you need advanced automation to make those custom workflows function, you hit a massive pricing cliff.
You leave the free tier.
Yeah, and suddenly you're paying $90 per seat per month. Most construction firms end up having to hire an expensive revenue operations consultant just to make the blank slate usable.
Wow. So if you build it wrong, you've spent thousands of dollars just to recreate your chaotic whiteboard on a computer screen.
Pretty much.
But what if you don't want to build a complex architectural web? What if you run a micro team, maybe an owner and 2 estimators, and you just want something unbelievably simple to look at?
Then you look at Pipedrive.
Right. The source brings up Pipedrive as the ultimate minimalist option.
Pipedrive is the antidote to the heavy bureaucratic systems. It is entirely visually driven.
It popularized the drag-and-drop Kanban board interface for sales.
Right. Yes. You don't need a consultant to use it. A 3-person roofing company could sign up at noon to find their 5 basic sales stages. Lead, appointment set, quote sent, negotiating. 1, import a spreadsheet of their clients and have a fully functioning digital pipeline running before they go home.
It is deeply satisfying just dragging a digital card from, quote, sent to 1.
It feels great.
But the trade-off for that extreme simplicity is pretty severe. Beyond the obvious lack of any construction-specific templates, the long-term user reviews point out a massive frustration with customer support.
Well, when you are paying very little for software, you cannot expect white glove service.
And the users are feeling it. Some reviewers cited having to make 20-plus contact attempts just to get a billing or plan issue resolved.
Ouch.
Yeah. When things break, or when you accidentally delete a pipeline, you are largely on your own reading support articles.
Pipedrive is phenomenal for visibility, but if you expect the software to understand the nuances of your industry or hold your hand when things get complicated, it's just the wrong choice.
Okay, so we've covered a massive spectrum here. The behemoths that manage the cement pours, the sniper tools that manage the estimators, and the blank slates that offer total freedom.
A lot of options.
But I want to pull this entire deep dive together with a massive reality check.
Okay, let's hear it.
We have spent this whole time analyzing data entry, pipeline visibility, and reporting interfaces. But think about the reality of a service contractor.
Right.
You could have spent $20,000 customizing HubSpot, or you could be paying Procore top dollar for the most beautifully organized system on earth.
Sure.
But if a homeowner calls your business at 7 p.m. on a Friday because their water heater just burst and is flooding their basements.
And your office manager's already gone home.
Exactly. So the call goes to voicemail. You lose the bid.
Because the customer doesn't leave a voicemail in an emergency. They hang up and call the next plumber on Google until someone actually picks up the phone.
Exactly. None of your beautiful pipeline software matters if the lead dies on the vine before it ever enters the system.
The bottleneck isn't always data entry. The bottleneck is human availability.
Which brings us to the final tool on the list, Service Agent.
Yes.
Now, full transparency for you listening, we need to note that the source article we're pulling this data from was actually published on the Service Agent blog itself.
Right. Always important to note.
However, we are looking strictly and impartially at the verified mechanics of the technology they've built because it represents a radical departure from everything else we've discussed.
It's vital to categorize this correctly. Service Agent is not a CRM replacement.
Yeah.
It does not have visual pipelines or Gantt charts. It is an AI-powered front office layer designed specifically for high-volume service contractors, the roofing, HVAC, and plumbing companies that are dealing with 20, 30, or 50 inbound calls a day.
It launched relatively recently in April 2025 out of Austin, Texas. The parent company, Sauce Labs, is backed by Sequoia with over $74 million raised, so there is significant engineering infrastructure behind this.
It's not a small operation.
No. Let's dig into the actual mechanics of an AI front office, because this isn't just a phone tree that says, press 1 for sale.
Oh, no, the Press 1 era is dead. This functions as a conversational 24/7 AI voice agent. But the crucial differentiator is that it uses domain-specific language models. They have literally trained specific models like Plumbing GPT or HVAC GPT.
How does that actually play out on a Friday night?
When that homeowner calls at 7 p.m. with the flooded basement, the AI answers the phone instantly. And it doesn't sound robotic. It holds a nuanced, dynamic conversation.
Like a real person.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can ask qualifying questions. Is the water actively flowing? Where's the main shutoff valve located? It understands the context of a plumbing emergency. It then accesses the contractor's actual real-time dispatch calendar and books the emergency visit directly.
Wow, and the source notes it can even process dispatch fees over the phone via an integration with Stripe. But here is the critical connection back to our software discussion. Once the AI finishes that phone call and takes the payment, it automatically pushes all of that data, the recording, the transcript, the client details, into whatever existing CRM the contractor is already using.
It feeds the beast. It populates Buildertrend or HubSpot or Pipedrive automatically, entirely bypassing the need for a human to do the initial data entry.
The verified metrics they are reporting are staggering. Because the AI never sleeps and never puts someone on hold, they are seeing a 75% booking conversion rate from their public widget.
It's huge.
And because the AI automatically handles the follow-up text messages, they report a 77% reduction in no-shows.
We also have to highlight the pricing model because it fundamentally attacks the software subscription fatigue we saw with Procore and Buildertrend.
Right.
Service Agent doesn't charge a flat monthly SaaS license. It operates on a performance basis, pay-per-call, and pay-per-book job. You are only paying the software when it is actively generating revenue for you.
But the catch is obvious, right? It is purely an integration layer.
Yes. It has no native project management capability. It won't track your submittals, and it certainly won't generate an SF-330 form for the federal government.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Furthermore, because it is on the absolute bleeding edge of the AI frontier, it doesn't have the decade of established user reviews and trust that the legacy platforms rely on.
It solves one very specific, very lucrative bottleneck, the missed connection.
Exactly.
So, synthesizing everything we've unpacked today, the core takeaway for you is that choosing a construction CRM is not a feature comparison exercise. It is a diagnostic exercise.
You have to ruthlessly identify where your actual bottleneck is.
Right. If your operations are wildly chaotic and projects are bleeding margin once the dirt starts moving, you need to surrender to the heavy-duty centralization of a Procore or a Buildertrend.
If the bill goes fine, but your estimators are acting like builders instead of salespeople and forgetting to call prospects, then follow-up CRM is your accountability partner.
If you run a small, nimble team and refuse to be bogged down by complex templates, Pipedrive gives you the visibility you crave.
And if you are losing tens of thousands of dollars a month simply because your human staff cannot physically answer the phone fast enough during emergency hours, an AI layer like Service Agent completely patches that hole in the boat.
Diagnosing the problem is the only way the software actually works for you. But, as we look at tools like Service Agent, it brings up a deeply provocative question about the future of this entire industry.
Oh, for sure.
We've just spent this time analyzing highly complex interfaces where humans have to manually drag digital cards across screens and type in data.
The nagging gym buddies and the blank slates.
Exactly. But if domain-specific AI models are now capable of holding highly nuanced technical conversations with homeowners, diagnosing problems, processing payments, and autonomously updating databases.
How long until the traditional manual CRM interface is completely obsolete?
Right. Are we approaching a reality where you never actually log into a dashboard again because an invisible AI just listens to your site operations, manages your pipeline, and quietly runs the back office for you?
That is a staggering thought. Going from a chaotic truck dashboard covered in sticky notes to a system so incredibly precise that it effectively runs itself while you focus entirely on the physical build.
Something to seriously consider as you evaluate where to invest your operational budget. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep interrogating the tools that run your business, and we'll catch you next time.